Hey guys, tonight we dive into the full, sleepy story of Cristiano Ronaldo. You're standing barefoot on a sloped, sun-baked street in Madeira. The air smells like fried cod and salt water, and a football, weathered, slightly deflated, is rolling gently downhill, bumping into the base of someone's laundry pole. You're not a global icon yet. You're a skinny kid named Cristiano, with a buzz cut courtesy of your aunt, and one oversized ambition rattling around in your chest like loose change. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is for you. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You spend most afternoons hammering shots at your neighbor's garage door until the handle comes loose. Your right foot is already a cannon. Your left foot is in development. Every scuff, every scratch on that door becomes a silent chapter in your origin story. Your friends call you the Bee because you never stop buzzing across the uneven concrete with a ball at your feet. Madeira isn't exactly a football capital. It's more of a postcard. But your mother, Dolores, sees something different in you. Maybe it's in the way you cry when you lose, or the way you fold your socks like they're sacred, or maybe it's just the way your eyes follow the ball like it owes you money. Historians still argue whether those early years on the island made you a genius or simply gave you fewer distractions. No PlayStation, no malls, just a football and the steep slopes of Santo Antonio. You play uphill, always. Literally and metaphorically. At school, your teachers complain that you're arrogant. You say you just want to be the best. At home, you tell your brother Hugo you'll buy him a house one day. He nods, not quite believing you, but smiles anyway. You keep practicing headers with pebbles, because there's no one tall enough to cross it to you properly. At age 7, you join Andorrinha, a local team where your dad does kitman duties. You love the smell of wet laundry and grass clippings. It means match day is close. You start winning games by yourself. People clap sometimes. Sometimes they just mutter, "That boy's not normal." By 9, you're playing against 12-year-olds. By 10, you're making them cry. One kid throws his shin pads at the coach and leaves early. You just jog to the center circle, ready for kickoff again. The coaches at Nassr see you. They don't just want to sign you, they want to show you off. You join their youth team and suddenly the island feels smaller. Trophies come easily, so do blisters. You don't mind either. But the real turning point comes at age 12. That's when Sporting CP, one of Portugal's big three, invites you to Lisbon for a trial. You've never been on a plane. You pack a sandwich, just in case the food's weird. You wear your best tracksuit, which is also your only tracksuit. When you land, it's raining. Not Madeira drizzle, real urban rain. Gray buildings, loud horns, cold stares. You miss the sun already. You pass the trial anyway, even though your socks slip and you fall during a sprint drill. They see something in you. Something raw, hungry, slightly terrifying. Your mom cries when you leave. Your dad doesn't say much. He never does. But he gives you a firm nod. That's how you know it's serious. You arrive at Alcochete Sporting's academy, where the beds squeak and the showers are always cold. You're 12, and you already feel 30. The other kids call you crybaby because you miss home. You call them slow because they are. You train like a man possessed. You skip meals to do extra dribbling drills. You cry at night quietly under your sheet. You write a letter to your sister Katia, asking her to send you hair gel and more socks. She sends cookies too. You share one. Just one. One day during training, a scout watches you sprint across the pitch so fast he stops chewing his gum. He mutters something about potential and walks away, scribbling on his clipboard. You pretend not to notice, but you saw. You always see. Back in Madeira, your friends keep track of your progress like you're already famous. One of them even starts copying your hairstyle, badly. And while it's easy now to look back and connect the dots, nothing feels certain in that dorm room. You fall asleep every night wondering if it's all worth it, if anyone will remember your name 10 years from now. Your right ankle aches constantly. Your left shin feels like gravel and the coach keeps saying you play too flashy. Still, you get up, you train, you run until the soles of your boots are paper thin. Because you don't just want to make it, you want to leave no doubt. And as you drift off that night, a ball tucked under your mattress, the streetlights outside flicker through the window like stadium floodlights. You dream of Manchester. You don't even know why. 12 is young to start over, especially when over is a loud, chilly boarding school for future footballers. You trudge through your first week in Lisbon like someone's pressed the mute button on the sun. The dorm bunk squeaks above you. The kid snoring there will become a backup midfielder at best. You, on the other hand, just cried into your pillow after missing breakfast. Again, the sporting CP Academy at Alcochete is no beach holiday. You thought it would be glamorous. It's mostly mud, whistles, and cafeteria rice that sticks together like furniture glue. Still, the pitch is green, the cones are bright, and the dream is loud in your chest. You wake up before the bell and run sprints alone. Some of the other boys tease you, others just stare. Coaches start noticing. You don't just run, you devour distance. You run like something's chasing you, and in a way, something is. Poverty, obscurity, and the quiet fear of not being good enough. When you're not training, you're calling your mom, who tells you to eat more. You lie and say you're fine, even though the homesickness has turned into a knot behind your ribs. Still, you stay. You play. You compete like the match never ends. In class, you barely concentrate. Football is the only subject you care about. Historians still argue whether you skipped school to train, or whether the school gave up trying to stop you. Your accent stands out. The Lisbon kids make fun of your Madeira drawl. You learn to ignore them. Then you learn to dribble past them. Soon no one's laughing. You're outpacing the older boys, outshooting them, outsweating them. Even your coaches start saying it in low voices. He's different. But it's not just ability. It's obsession. Your cleats are cleaner than your sheets. You polish them after every session. You start doing ankle weights at night, toe raises in the dorm hallway. At one point, a roommate reports that you're doing push-ups in your sleep. That's probably an exaggeration, but only just. Your dad, José Dinis Aveiro, visits once. He brings you a toy car and sits quietly while you eat your soggy lunch. You don't talk much, and afterward you wonder if he was proud or just tired. He's always looked tired. You don't see him again for a while. At 13, you're already playing with the U-15s. By 14, you're skipping age groups entirely. People start whispering your name during matches. That's the one from Madeira. You score a goal from midfield during a youth cup. The keeper wasn't ready. You were. One day you faint during training. The doctors find an irregular heartbeat, tachycardia. That word alone could end a career before it starts. But you get the surgery. You're back within days, faster than the rumor that you'd be out for weeks. You tell no one how scared you were. You just run harder. You miss birthdays. You miss family dinners. Your mom sends you chocolate bars wrapped in socks. You don't eat the chocolate. You save it as a kind of reward. For what? For one day. The day that never comes, but always feels close. Your social life becomes a schedule of drills. Your closest friends are cones and cold showers. You begin to read defenders like their sheet music. You start playing more for Sporting's junior teams, and even the senior staff start dropping in to watch. One of them bets you'll be in the first team before you're 17. You file that away. Not as a compliment, but a deadline. You adopt rituals. You lace your right boot first. You wear the same undershirt for every home game. You kiss your shin pads before each match. These little habits become anchors in a sea of pressure. One wrong move, and you're just another almost. But then, your debut comes. You're 16. The stadium's not full, but your lungs are. You step onto the pitch for the first time in front of a paying crowd. You barely hear the whistle. All you see is space. You don't score, but you dance around the left flank like gravity is optional. An older defender tries to body you off the ball. You hit the ground, but only after nutmegging him. The crowd lets out a soft, collective gasp. You file that sound away too. It's your new favorite. The buzz begins. Sporting fans start asking for autographs. Journalists circle like curious pigeons. Coaches at rival clubs start asking, "Who's the Madeira boy?" You keep your head down, mostly. That same season, in a friendly against Manchester United, everything changes. You twist and flick and sprint past John O'Shea so badly the poor man looks like he's trying to dance on marbles. Sir Alex Ferguson watches from the stands, chewing gum and narrowing his eyes. After the match, the United players beg their manager to sign you. Not suggest, beg. It's rare for professional footballers to act like that about a teenager, but you're no ordinary teenager. And just like that, the rumors swirl into fact. Manchester United makes the offer. It's not just any move, it's the move. The Premier League, Old Trafford, the red kit of legends. You're 17, the medical clears, the contract signs, and once again, your mother cries. This time, though, it's different. You cry too, but not because you're afraid, because you're already halfway gone, running into your future like you've been waiting your whole life for this sprint. And as you fly across the tarmac, watching Lisbon shrink through the airplane window, you whisper something only you can hear. Now it starts. You land in Manchester wearing sunglasses too big for your face. You look like you've borrowed them from a boy band member who left them in the airport lounge. Still, you step onto English soil like someone who knows exactly where he's going, even if you barely understand the Mancunian accent yet. The city is damp. Everything is gray. Sidewalks, skies, even the eggs at breakfast. Your first impression of Manchester: it rains sideways and the toast is always cold. You miss home already. But you're here for one reason: to prove you belong at the biggest club in the world's loudest league. Sir Alex Ferguson greets you like a favorite uncle, who also happens to terrify everyone. His handshake is firm, his eyes sharper than your hairline. You understand maybe half of what he says. But one sentence comes through clear: don't try to impress everyone. Just do your job. Which is funny because impressing people is your entire brand at this point. You're given the number 7 shirt. Beckham's old number, Best's old number, Cantona's old number. You stare at it like it might burn your hands. Historians still argue whether giving a teenager that shirt was genius or madness. You don't argue. You just smile for the cameras, shake a few hands, and secretly vow to make that number yours. Your first training session at Carrington is a blur of short passes and long stares. The veterans aren't sold. Roy Keane thinks your stepovers are silly. Giggs thinks you're too soft. Rio Ferdinand thinks you look like someone who spends too much time on his eyebrows. They're all correct, technically. You respond the only way you know how, by running until your lungs creak and practicing stepovers until your ankles blur. Your debut is electric. You come on as a substitute against Bolton, and within seconds you're tearing up the left wing like a wind-up toy blessed by the football gods. The crowd loves it. The crowd needs it. Every stepover feels like a magic trick pulled from a school bag. But your final ball is inconsistent. You shoot too much. You dive. You flail. You play like a cartoon sometimes. You get fouled a lot, and you fall even more. Premier League defenders don't play games. They play demolition. And they don't like being embarrassed by a 17-year-old with hair gel so shiny it reflects stadium lights. Still, the talent is undeniable. You start earning starts. You draw fouls in dangerous areas. You whip in crosses that confuse everyone, including your own teammates. You start scoring, less frequently than you want, but more than anyone your age probably should. The media's obsessed. Some call you the next George Best. Some call you a sideshow. You read every article, twice. You keep receipts. In the dressing room, you're quiet. You listen. You watch how the older players tie their boots, how they stretch, how they keep their heads down after losses. You learn from them, even the ones who don't like you yet. One day, you stay after training for an extra hour just to practice free kicks. Gary Neville walks by, chuckling. "Trying to kill a squirrel with that?" he says after a particularly wild miss. You don't laugh. You just adjust your stance and take another one. Soon, the power starts to show. Your shots go from unpredictable fireworks to guided missiles. You learn to bend the ball like it owes you money. Opposing keepers start groaning when United win free kicks within 30 yards. Your diet changes. No more sodas, no more fried food. You start asking for steamed vegetables and plain grilled chicken. You sleep early. You rise earlier. You become a machine with abs sharp enough to slice a baguette. And then there's the step-over era. You do them at every opportunity. You do them while already 20 yards ahead of your marker. You do them on corners, on throw-ins, in warm-ups. Commentators joke about it. Fans make compilations. One defender pretends to cramp just to avoid being embarrassed on live television. You're still learning, though. Your final product needs polish. Sir Alex keeps pulling you into his office. "Less glitter, more gold," he says once. You nod like you understand. Then you go out and try a rainbow flick against Charlton. Still, you're getting better. Every week your numbers improve. Every match, the roar gets louder. You win your first trophy, the FA Cup, and lift it with wide eyes and trembling hands. You're not used to silver yet, but you will be. Back home, your family watches every match. Your mom keeps a scrapbook. Your brother brags in bars. Your sister sends you prayer texts before big games. You read them in the locker room, just before pulling on the number 7. And just as you're finding your rhythm, tragedy creeps in. Your father passes away. Alcohol took its final toll. You fly home for the funeral, surrounded by cameras and silence. You don't say much. You cry alone. You return to Manchester and train the next morning. When asked why, you shrug. "He would have wanted me to," you say. After that, something hardens. Your game sharpens. You stop flailing, you start finishing. At training, even the skeptics notice. Keane nods when you sprint back on defense. Giggs stops calling you the soap opera kid. Rio starts asking you for grooming tips. Sort of. It's not overnight, but the transformation begins. You're no longer the step-over kid. You're becoming the game changer, the match winner, the danger every defender circles on the chalkboard. You cut your hair. You cut your dive rate. You start cutting inside instead of always going wide. Coaches talk about maturity. You talk about winning. By the time your third season starts, no one's questioning your place. You've gone from YouTube highlight reel to cornerstone, from boy band backup to leading man. And under the floodlights of Old Trafford, as you whip another free kick into the top corner, you finally hear it. Tens of thousands of voices chanting a name you've spent your whole life preparing to own. Cristiano Ronaldo. The 2006 World Cup in Germany is meant to be a coming-of-age party for the golden generation of Portuguese football. And for you, it's a proving ground, where teenage flash becomes international firepower. At least, that's the plan. You pack your bags with custom cologne, protein bars, and exactly 3 pairs of identical white sneakers. You've played your anthem in your headphones on the flight, twice. Your hair is gelled with a kind of military precision, as if every strand is reporting for duty. Portugal's team is stacked. Figo, Deco, Carvalho, Pauleta. Names that hum with gravitas. You're still just 21, still the junior. But not for long. Your first match is against Angola. It's tense. Physical. You dart along the wings like a hummingbird on caffeine. The final score is 1-0. Not glamorous, but 3 points is 3 points. You start getting into the rhythm. You growl when you lose the ball, then sprint 60 yards to get it back. Commentators are split. Some say you're arrogant, others say you're awakening. Then comes the England match in the quarterfinals. And oh boy, if people didn't know your name before, they learn it that day. The match goes to penalties. But not before one little moment makes you public enemy number 1 in Britain. The wink. Wayne Rooney, your Manchester United teammate, gets sent off after stomping on Ricardo Carvalho. In the chaos, you're there. You protest. You gesture. Moments later, the red card flashes. Then, just before play resumes, the camera catches you. A sly, almost imperceptible wink toward your bench. That single-eye twitch sets off an international firestorm. British tabloids combust. They call you a traitor, a snake, a saboteur. Rooney is furious. Historians still argue whether you actually influenced the ref or if the wink was just some pre-planned signal. You never say. But what matters? You convert your penalty. Portugal wins the shootout. England goes home. And you, somehow, become the most Googled person on earth for a week. Back in Manchester, you walk into training with the whole city glaring through windows. You and Rooney share a handshake that's not exactly warm. Tension hangs like laundry. But then, you talk, you joke, You move on. The tabloids move on too. Sort of. The real shift happens in the 2006-07 season. You come back faster, hungrier, scarred maybe, but shiny with ambition. Sir Alex sees it. He pulls you aside. "It's your time now," he says. And he's right. Your numbers go nuclear. You become a storm with studs. You score 17 goals in the league, then 23, then 31. You no longer just beat defenders. You warp them. You become the Premier League's most feared one-man press breaker. Your acceleration becomes myth. There's a story that Wes Brown once raced you in training and spent the next 2 days walking like he'd wrestled a washing machine. Every goal becomes a poster. Every celebration, a brand. You start doing the airborne spin into a fist pump, the one that teenage boys start copying at bus stops. You win the Premier League. Then again, 3 times in a row, United dominate and you're the spark. Teammates call you Ronnie. Opponents call you other things. One defender says marking you is like chasing a slippery shadow tied to a Ferrari. Your free kicks become weapons of mass distraction. The knuckleball technique, where the ball wobbles midair like it's been cursed, becomes your trademark. You stand over the ball like a kung fu movie villain. The run-up, the exhale, then, boom. You play in the Champions League final against Chelsea in 2008. You score with a leaping header so powerful it leaves your neck sore for days. The game goes to penalties. You miss yours. You think it's over. But Edwin van der Sar saves the final shot. United wins. You fall to your knees. Not in despair this time, but in dizzy, relieved euphoria. The trophies come. Ballon d'Or, Golden Boot, FIFA World Player of the Year. The magazines finally stop calling you promising. Now they call you best. And yet something inside stirs. You love Manchester. You love Sir Alex. But you start dreaming in Spanish. Real Madrid calls. Quiet at first, then louder, then with numbers that make your head spin. It's not just money, it's legacy. It's Di Stefano, Zidane, Raul. It's the Bernabeu. It's immortality wrapped in white. Sir Alex doesn't want you to go. He's like a second father by now. You cry when you tell him it's time. So does he, though he hides it in his throat. The fee is record-breaking. $80 million, you become the most expensive footballer on the planet. Again, you board a plane. Again, the window reflects a younger version of you, the boy from Madeira who ran until the world couldn't ignore him. Madrid awaits. New language, new city, new pressure. But as the plane banks over Spain, you don't feel fear this time. You feel something else. Readiness. The sun in Madrid is louder. That's your first thought as you step onto the tarmac. It's not just brighter than Manchester. It feels theatrical, like it's performing just for you. You squint into it and wonder if this is what destiny looks like. Your presentation at the Santiago Bernabeu draws a crowd of over 80,000 people. Think about that. Not for a game, just to watch you juggle a ball and wave. A sea of white shirts and roaring voices welcomes you like a myth returning to life. The flashbulbs flicker like fireworks. You smile, raise a hand, and say your first sentence in Spanish. Sort of. You're handed the number 9 shirt. Raul still holds the 7 for now. But that's fine, you'll get it. Patience has never really been your thing, but this time you're willing to wait. And just like that, you're Real Madrid's new Galactico, the most expensive footballer in history. A walking billboard, a human headline, a marketing dream wrapped in calf muscles. Your first season. Chaos. Glorious, sparkly, golden chaos. You score on your La Liga debut against Deportivo La Coruña with a penalty that almost rips the net. You score again. And again. 12 goals in your first 12 games. Your stats begin to look less like football numbers and more like cheat codes. But Real Madrid isn't quite ready to win yet. The team is in transition. Kaká, Benzema, and Xabi Alonso arrive the same summer. It's a glittering ensemble cast, but someone forgot to write the script. Barcelona, meanwhile, are at their artistic peak. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, playing football that looks like synchronized swimming with boots on. You watch as they win everything, including El Clásico, emphatically. Historians still argue whether that era of Barcelona football was the greatest of all time. What's clear is that it lights a fire in you, one that won't go out for years. You train harder, eat cleaner. Even your stretching becomes legendary. There's a story that you once stopped a physio mid-session to correct the angle of your hamstring stretch, not because it hurt, because it wasn't optimal. Off the pitch, you're adjusting. Madrid is warmer, friendlier, and somehow still lonelier. You're a megastar, but your circle stays tight. Your mom moves in. You call your siblings more. Your son, Cristiano Jr., is born in 2010. You don't say much about the mother. The world speculates, but you don't blink. You say, "He's my son, that's all." You keep scoring, like clockwork. Headers, free kicks, tap-ins, long-range missiles. You develop a celebration, a leap, a spin, arms wide, and the now iconic "Siu" yell. It starts as a burst of joy. It becomes a catchphrase. Soon, even kids in Alaska are yelling it at the bus stop. By 2011, Jose Mourinho arrives. Charismatic, combustible, utterly box office. You and he form a volatile kind of magic. He defends you like a big brother in a bar fight. He also benches you sometimes just to make a point. You hate it, but secretly, you learn from it. You begin to redefine what it means to be a goal-scoring winger. Scratch that. You're not a winger anymore. You're a machine, a one-man endgame. The rivalry with Messi grows into something operatic. You don't talk much about him publicly, but he's in your head. He's in every highlight reel you skip through. He's the benchmark, the ghost at your banquet, your numbers balloon, 53 goals in a single season, 55 the next. You break club records like they're made of glass. Raul's all-time goal tally? Gone. Hugo Sanchez's gone. Di Stefano's gone. Each year, you walk out onto the Bernabeu grass like it's your personal theater stage. The fans don't chant. They declare you. Every goal, a sermon. Every match, a ceremony. Quirky fact, you once refused to cut your hair for a month after losing a particularly unlucky match to Levante. Superstition, you said. That month you scored in every game. You kept the hair. Your teammates respect you, though some keep their distance. You're intense, meticulous. Once during a team lunch, you reportedly weighed a slice of pineapple before eating it. Pepe nearly choked laughing. But when the Champions League anthem plays, nobody jokes. You transform. You become a predator of space, a master of timing. Every cross aimed for your head. Every counterattack built around your run. And finally, in 2014, you win La Decima. The 10th European title Madrid chased for over a decade. You score in the final against Atletico Madrid. The last goal, yes, a penalty, but the moment is yours. Shirt off, muscles tense, eyes burning like a telenovela hero on season finale night. You cry, like really cry. On the pitch, in the arms of teammates, years of pressure releasing in one 90-minute opera. Fans still talk about it like it was a holy event. From Madeira to Madrid, you've climbed every rung, scaled every wall, collected every accolade. And you're still not satisfied because you're not done yet, not even close. You're 30 years old now. Old by footballer standards, but it feels like just yesterday you were the 18-year-old kid running rings around defenders in Manchester. But here you are, a multi-millionaire, a football icon with a wardrobe full of suits that cost more than your first car. And the craziest part? You're just getting started. The summer of 2018 is a turning point. Real Madrid has just won their third consecutive Champions League title. You've scored a hat trick against Girona earlier in the season, you've been named Ballon d'Or winner multiple times, and yet something still feels off. The energy around Madrid is shifting. Zidane, the manager who's practically a saint in the eyes of fans, leaves. Then, without much warning, you announce that you'll be leaving too. The rumors are wild. Some say you're just tired of the pressure. Others claim it's over contract negotiations. And then there's the speculation. You've always had one foot out the door, never quite feeling fully at home in Madrid. Whatever it is, the decision is made. You're leaving the club that made you a legend to join Juventus, one of Italy's greatest. Juventus doesn't have the shiny, glittery allure of Madrid, but they have something equally seductive. history. Juventus is a powerhouse in Italy, but they haven't won the Champions League in over 2 decades. Your challenge? To make them European champions again. To write another chapter, and this time, to do it in the Italian sun. The transfer fee is enormous, $100 million. For context, that's the kind of money most teams would pay for an entire squad of decent players. But for you, it's business as usual. Another high-profile chapter in your football journey. You land in Turin, and it's different here. The fans are quieter, more reserved. They don't chant your name as loud as Madridistas do, but when you score in your first game, you hear something special. The roar of anticipation, the roar of belief that you're the man who will bring Juventus back to its former glory. It's a different kind of game in Italy. The tactics are tighter, more defensive. You can't always just run past defenders like you used to. In fact, sometimes the game slows down so much that you can hear the sound of your own heartbeat when the ball is passed to you. And that's where you're forced to adapt, to get even smarter with your movements, your positioning, your finishing. And adapt you do. The first season at Juventus, a dazzling success. You scored 28 goals in Serie A, helping Juventus claim their 8th consecutive league title. It's the kind of dominant, clinical performance that proves your worth to your new team. But still, that Champions League trophy eludes you just like it always has. But you're not done yet. You're never done. The 2019-2020 season is all about proving that age is just a number. You're in your 30s now, but you feel like you're in the prime of your life. You set records, again. You become the oldest player to score 50 goals in the Champions League. You score a hat-trick against Cagliari that makes the stadium shake with your energy. But it's not all sunshine and goals. Juventus, despite your efforts, stumbles in Europe once again. They go out in the round of 16 in the Champions League, and the weight of that disappointment lingers over you. You've been so close to European glory for so long that it starts to feel like a cruel joke. Still, you keep pushing. You train harder, shoot sharper, and make sure the Juventus team is built around your strengths. You embrace the challenges of Serie A, the tactical battles, the physicality. You become not just a star, but a cornerstone of the team's identity. Then in 2021, something unexpected happens. You're now officially a legend at Juventus, but your time in Italy starts to feel finite. The weight of past glories, the constant pressure to win more, to be perfect, starts to wear you down. Your departure from Turin comes almost as quietly as your arrival. It's like you've been around long enough to set the expectations high, but never truly fit the mold of the club. There are murmurings about family, about legacy, about new challenges. And just like that, you're back at the beginning again. You leave Juventus after 3 seasons and the cycle repeats. The same questions. Where next? What more can you accomplish? The answer is simple. You're not done yet. Not even close. The world doesn't slow down for you, not for a second. And after the shock waves of your Juventus departure settle, another storm begins. It's familiar. It's bold. And in true Cristiano Ronaldo fashion, it's a statement. You're heading back to where it all began. In the summer of 2021, the football world is set ablaze once again with the announcement, you're returning to Manchester United. The Old Trafford crowd goes wild, as if they've been waiting for you to come home all along. And why wouldn't they? You're the prodigal son, the legend who conquered Europe with them and then set the world on fire. For you, it feels like the perfect fit. There's nostalgia, sure, but there's something more, unfinished business. It's the dream scenario. You've left Madrid, you've left Juventus, but Manchester United always held a special place in your heart. The theater of dreams is calling and your boots are laced tight. As you walk out onto the pitch, the familiar roar of the crowd fills your ears. You step onto the pitch, your heart pounding, but there's also a sense of peace. You know this place, you know this game, and you know what it feels like to wear the red of Manchester United once more. The game has changed, though. The Premier League is faster, younger, and hungrier. You've always been ahead of the curve in terms of fitness, but the pace of the league isn't what it was when you first graced Old Trafford. Now you're no longer the fleet-footed young winger you once were. Your role has shifted. You're the focal point, the striker, the one who makes the difference when it matters most. But still, you're here to make noise. And make noise you do. In your first season back at United, you score goals like you're playing in a video game. A brace on your second debut against Newcastle. A memorable header against Villarreal in the Champions League. Sealing a dramatic 2-1 victory. You've still got it, and your critics are forced to take note. But you feel the friction. There's no escaping the tension. Manchester United is in the midst of rebuilding, and despite your individual brilliance, the team struggles to find its rhythm. The Old Trafford faithful sing your name, but some wonder if your arrival is a cure for what ails the team, or just a temporary fix. It's the same pressure, but now you're older, wiser, and wear the weight of your legacy on your shoulders like never before. By the end of your second season, the reality sets in. The goals are still there, but they come less frequently. You've played in countless leagues, won almost everything there is to win, and your body is a temple that has seen better days. You are, undeniably, in your twilight years. The media talks about your longevity, your ability to defy Father Time, but even you know that the clock is ticking. Your relationship with United's management, the tactics and the changing landscape of the Premier League, starts to show signs of strain. The dynamic with your teammates becomes more challenging as younger players emerge. Players who are faster, more dynamic. You've been at the top of the food chain for over a decade, and suddenly the world is shifting under your feet. But there's one thing no one can ever take from you: the mentality, the hunger, the drive. You're never satisfied. In 2022, there's a bitter chapter. After an intense season, you part ways with Manchester United in a dramatic fashion. The world is watching, and the media speculates endlessly. You're now looking for that new challenge, the final frontier. And then, the unthinkable happens. You land in Saudi Arabia, Al Nassr, a league that isn't quite on the European radar but is filled with opportunity. It's a country, a culture, a new footballing horizon. The news hits like a thunderclap. Many think it's the end of the road, the final sunset, retirement, but with a very, very big paycheck. But you've always thought differently. A move to Al Nassr isn't the end, it's just another beginning. Saudi Arabia is a place where football is still in its prime stages of growth. It's an untapped market, a place where the crowd is boisterous, the atmosphere electric, but the competition just beginning to develop. You'll bring the professionalism, the legacy, and the winning mentality. And the world watches to see if you can help raise the profile of Middle Eastern football to the level of the leagues you've conquered before. There's something poetic about it all, isn't there? From Madeira to Manchester, Madrid to Turin, and now the Arabian Peninsula. You've never been one to follow the typical paths, and this final chapter isn't going to be any different. No, you're going to make your own legacy here. And when the final whistle blows on your playing career, no one will be able to deny it. Cristiano Ronaldo went everywhere, and conquered everywhere. You sit down at the end of a match. The lights are dimming, the field empties out, but you've still got a million things left to accomplish, a million places to see. And no matter where football takes you next, you'll always be Cristiano Ronaldo, the kid who ran like lightning, the man who flew like an eagle, and the one who never, ever gave up. And now, there you are. Far away from the glitz of European football, a continent away from the fields where you made your name, but somehow the legacy still follows you like a shadow. The sun setting over the Riyadh Stadium casts long shadows across the pitch, and as you jog out onto it, there's a familiar feeling, one you've come to know throughout your career. The feeling of eyes on you, every step, every movement. Al Nassr's fans, loyal, passionate, welcome you like royalty. They chant your name not because they've known you from Manchester or Madrid, but because they've followed your story, your dedication, your relentless ambition. You can feel the heat of their gaze, and you respond. For a moment, it's as though nothing has changed. The cheers are the same. The adrenaline, the anticipation, they are universal. But you also know this chapter is different. It's not about winning Champions Leagues or Ballon d'Ors anymore. No, it's about something else. It's about building, about shaping the future of football in a part of the world that has always had an appetite for greatness but hasn't always had the stars to match. The league is competitive, but the standards of play, the facilities, the global visibility, they're growing fast. You've always been a man who thrives in competitive environments, so this feels like a challenge. One last hurdle to jump, one last race to run, even if it's not in front of the European crowds. You score your first goal for Al Nassr with that same sharp instinct, that same grace under pressure. You've lost none of it, none of that predatory instinct that saw you score with both feet, from set pieces, headers, penalties. And as you find the back of the net, you feel the flood of memories. Your first goal for Sporting Lisbon, that debut in the Premier League, the Champions League final. They all rush back, and it's almost like the echoes of your past are joining you here in the Middle East. There's something about this place that you haven't fully wrapped your head around yet. The culture, the energy of the stadium, the food, the way people celebrate football in a different way. It's not always about the trophy. It's about the pride, the heart, the way the community ties together over every match. Here, the fans don't just follow you because you're Cristiano Ronaldo, the global icon. They follow you because you're one of their own now, their hope, their inspiration. Football in Saudi Arabia is growing, and with every match you play, you're making your mark in a place that will remember you for more than just your goals. You'll be remembered for the way you helped raise the level of football, for the way you proved that greatness doesn't always need to be under the spotlight of Europe. It can shine anywhere, and you've always been the one to find the light, no matter where it's hidden. But your influence isn't just on the pitch. You're changing the game off the field as well. Your sponsorships, your partnerships, the very way you carry yourself. It's like a masterclass in how to build a brand. You've always understood the power of image, the importance of being not just a footballer, but a business. And as you settle into this new life, that same focus, that same determination to be the best in every corner of your life, becomes even more evident. People will still be talking about you long after the final whistle blows on your playing career. The youth academies in Saudi Arabia will flourish, inspired by your work ethic and discipline. Other players will look up to you as they take their first steps in football, learning from you not just how to score goals, but how to be a true professional, how to manage your career and brand with precision. The critics still doubt, of course. They'll always be there. Some will always wonder if this is the end, if you've taken one step too many. But those who have followed your journey, those who have seen you defy expectations again and again, will never question your hunger. The one thing they'll never doubt is your will to win. And at Al Nassr, in front of thousands of fans who live and breathe football, you keep proving it. Your goals come in waves, hat tricks, penalties, assists, all of it. Your name is etched in the hearts of your new fans, and your legacy grows. Every match is a step towards making history, not just for yourself, but for the future of the game in the Middle East. Whether you score a goal or simply lift the spirits of your teammates, you are helping create something that will last far beyond your playing days. Eventually, there will come a time when you'll look back at this chapter, just as you did with every other. You'll remember the way the fans cheered when you took the field, the heat of the Middle Eastern sun on your back, the rush of the game under the lights. It will be a chapter full of meaning, different from the others, but important in its own right. For now, though, you're not done yet. You've got more to do, more records to break, more barriers to push. Because that's who you are, someone who never stops, who never rests. And when the final whistle blows, the name Cristiano Ronaldo will be known not just for what you've accomplished, but for what you've inspired the world to dream. There's something magical about the long, steady rhythm of football in the twilight of your career. You're not rushing anymore. The frantic pace of youth is gone, replaced by an older, wiser version of the game. Every step you take on the pitch is calculated, measured. Every decision, every pass, every goal feels like it's been thought through 100 times. It's like you're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Al Nassr's stadium is buzzing again, but not for the usual reasons. The buzz isn't because they're watching the latest superstar on the rise. It's because they're watching you, Cristiano Ronaldo, the legend, still in action. And as you line up for yet another match, your legacy is already being written in gold. But despite the spotlight, you carry a quiet pride. You know this phase of your career isn't about earning trophies anymore. It's about leaving a different kind of legacy. A legacy that will resonate far beyond your playing days. The Saudis love their football, and the connection you're making with them is something special. The fact that you've chosen this path, this bold, unexpected step, speaks volumes. You're not here because you need more fame. You're not here for another payday. No, this is about something deeper, something almost transcendent. Every game is an opportunity to give back to the game, to show the younger generation how it's done. You talk to your teammates, offer advice, share the wealth of knowledge you've gained through your years at the top. It's not just about scoring goals anymore. It's about helping build a culture of excellence. You want the young players at Al Nassr to dream as big as you did when you were their age. You want them to believe, truly believe, that anything is possible with enough hard work and determination. On the field, you're still the same. You still do the impossible. The goals are there, spectacular as always. You score a free kick from an impossible angle, a header so high it seems like you've leapt into the clouds. And then there's the moment when you glide past a defender with that signature Ronaldo step over, still making defenders look foolish, just as you did all those years ago in England, Spain, and Italy. But it's the off-field moments that are shaping your legacy here. You've become a bridge between worlds, the link between the modern game, with its high-tech innovations and relentless pace, and the roots of football, with its grassroots values and community spirit. In Saudi Arabia, they're watching and learning. You're not just a player. They're watching how you live your life, how you stay dedicated to your body, how you remain humble despite everything you've achieved. You're not just showing them how to score goals. You're showing them how to be a professional, how to approach every day as an opportunity to be better. And it's paying off. More young players are emerging, their game influenced by your presence. They see the discipline, the mental toughness, the unshakable focus, and they want to be like you. They look at you and see the possibility of achieving greatness. And perhaps the most humbling part of this whole experience is realizing that you've had an impact on something larger than your own career. You've touched the future of football in a region that's hungry for success, hungry for stars who will push them into the global spotlight. The game, of course, still has its ups and downs. You lose some matches, win others. The critics will always be there, wondering if you've taken one step too many, if this is the end of the line. But what they fail to see is that you've already won. You've already succeeded. Not because of the goals or the trophies, but because you've inspired a whole generation of players who will one day say, "I grew up watching Ronaldo play, and that's why I'm here today." And even as the years pass and your playing days become a memory, your name will still echo through the stadiums of Saudi Arabia, through the homes of fans who grew up idolizing you. You will have paved the way for a new generation of footballers, not just in Portugal or Europe, but in Asia and the Middle East as well. Your story will never be just about you. It will be about the thousands of people you've influenced, the millions who will carry your lessons forward. And when the time does come when you hang up your boots for good, the world will remember. They'll remember the dedication, the passion, the unrelenting pursuit of greatness. They'll remember the way you played, the way you led, and the way you inspired. But most of all, they'll remember the man who didn't stop, even when everyone expected him to. Cristiano Ronaldo, the man who took his legacy wherever the game needed him, even to places where the sun set differently. And then, one day, the inevitable happens. You know the signs. Your body has been telling you for years that this day would come, but you've always refused to listen, refused to believe that the game would ever stop calling you. But time, as it always does, moves forward. And now you're starting to feel it more than ever. The wear and tear, the tiredness in your legs, the aches that didn't used to be there, the weight of so many battles, so many victories, so many years. It's not just physical, it's mental too. For years, the hunger has been insatiable, an ever-burning fire that drove you to conquer everything in your path. But as you step onto the pitch now, there's a different feeling. The fire is still there, but it's quieter, more distant. Maybe it's because you've done it all. You've won it all. Maybe it's because your legacy is already sealed, and now you're just playing for the love of the game, not the need for validation. The whispers are there, of course. Is this the end? They ask as if they haven't been asking for years. Every time you have a quiet game, the rumors swirl. But you're not concerned. You know your body. You know what it's capable of. You know what you've given to the sport. And you know when it's time to walk away to hand over the baton to the next generation. The fans? They're different now, too. They're older, their kids are watching you play, learning your every move as you once did with your idols. And as you step off the pitch for the last time, they cheer, louder than they ever have before. You realize that the reason they're cheering isn't because you've won one more game, one more title, or one more Ballon d'Or. No, they're cheering because they've witnessed greatness. And that greatness isn't defined by goals or trophies alone. It's defined by the dedication, the relentless pursuit, the love for the game. You've shown them that. As you sit down after your final game, the adrenaline fades, and there's a moment of stillness. The stadium lights are dimming, the crowds are slowly dispersing, but your mind races with thoughts. It's surreal, isn't it? To have reached the end of a journey that has defined everything about who you are. The next chapter is uncharted territory. You start thinking about what comes next. You've already begun to set the stage for life after football. The foundations of your brand are stronger than ever. You've been involved in businesses, charity work, and partnerships for years, but now there's more time to focus on it. You know that the game will always be a part of you, but now you can look at it from a different angle, from the outside, watching the next generation chase their dreams the same way you once did. Maybe you'll coach, maybe you'll become an ambassador, or maybe you'll continue to build your business empire. Whatever it is, you'll find a way to stay connected to the sport that gave you everything. The most important thing now is your family. You've always kept a tight circle. Your mother, your children, your loved ones. Now, you can spend more time with them, watching your children take their first steps in the world, guiding them through their own journeys. And as they grow, you'll be there to watch, to support them. You've always been a role model, and now you can truly pass on everything you've learned. And so the end of your playing career is not a goodbye, but a shift in perspective. From the field to the sidelines, from wearing boots to wearing a suit. You've given football your everything, and while your boots may hang on the wall as relics of an incredible career, your impact on the sport, on the lives you've touched, will never truly fade. As you look back at it all, you smile quietly to yourself. You did it. Not just for the trophies, not just for the headlines, but for something bigger. You showed the world what it means to be great. You showed them what it takes to keep pushing, to keep striving, to never give up, no matter what the world throws your way. And when it's all said and done, you can rest easy knowing that the name Cristiano Ronaldo will live on in the history of football for as long as the game is played. A name synonymous with excellence, hard work, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. You, the man who proved that when you give everything to the game will give everything back to you. With retirement now behind you, a new chapter of your life begins to unfold. A life where the world of football no longer spins around your every move, but where its rhythms still echo softly in the background. The transition is strange, almost like stepping out of one life and into another. But you've always prided yourself on being adaptable, on never backing down from a challenge. And this is no different. You're still Cristiano Ronaldo, of course. The world will always recognize you. Whether you're walking through the streets of Lisbon, in the malls of Dubai, or even attending a match in Riyadh, the whispers follow. But there's something quieter now, something more peaceful about it. The roar of the crowd is distant. The pressure is gone. For the first time in your life, you have time on your side. Instead of waking up to the shrill sound of an alarm to prepare for training, you now have a leisurely morning. The rhythm of your day is yours to control. You spend more time at home with your children, guiding them through their own development, whether that's football or simply life. You've always wanted the best for them, and now you can truly be there for them. Watching them grow, teaching them lessons you learned the hard way. This is the reward, isn't it? But it's not just family life that calls your attention. There are new ventures, new challenges, new goals to chase. Football was never just about the game for you. It was about setting yourself up for a future that would endure long after the stadiums had emptied. You've invested wisely over the years. Real estate, businesses, fashion lines, it's all there. Your empire continues to expand, and with it, so does your influence. Some people might think that transitioning out of football would be difficult for someone like you. After all, you've been the center of the footballing universe for 2 decades. But for you, it feels like a natural evolution. You're already thinking about how to give back to the sport that gave you everything. You've spoken about your dream to manage a team, to pass on your expertise to the next generation of players. Maybe it's with the Portuguese national team, or maybe it's with a club in need of the kind of leadership only you can offer. Who knows? For now, that chapter is still to be written. One thing that stands out in this new phase is your commitment to helping others. You've built a reputation not just as a footballer, but as a philanthropist. Whether it's through your own foundation, which helps underprivileged children, or through partnerships with global charities, your heart has always been in the right place. You're starting to see the impact of your work on a different level, and it fills you with pride. You've done more than score goals. You've changed lives. The world watches as you embark on this next journey, and it's clear that you're still deeply connected to the game. When you attend matches, the cameras catch you in moments of reflection, a quiet observer of a world you once dominated. The desire to be part of football, to contribute in a meaningful way, is still alive in you. You see yourself in the players, especially in the younger ones, and you can't help but offer the occasional piece of advice, a quiet word of encouragement. They may not realize it, but you are still mentoring, still helping the game grow, even in your retirement. For you, the story is far from over. As much as football has shaped you, you've always understood that the journey is just as important as the destination. And so, the story of Cristiano Ronaldo, the footballer, evolves. It becomes less about what you did on the pitch and more about what you will do in the world beyond it. And the best part? You're just getting started. As you spend more time with those closest to you, a quiet joy fills your heart. You've reached the pinnacle of your career, and now you're finding peace in knowing that you've done everything possible to leave your mark on the world. There's no more chasing for recognition, no more proving anything. Now it's about legacy. It's about ensuring that the people you've influenced, the players you've mentored, and the fans you've inspired carry forward the lessons you taught them. Never stop believing, never stop working, and always pursue excellence. And when you look back on it all, on the long journey from Madeira to Lisbon to Manchester to Madrid and beyond, you know that you've done more than just play football. You've given the world something unforgettable, a story of dedication, perseverance, and greatness that will last forever. As the years drift by, the world of football continues to evolve. Yet your influence remains etched in its very fabric. It's the kind of impact that never truly fades. Even in your retirement, you find yourself constantly drawn back into the sport you gave your everything. Whether it's a quiet night watching a Champions League match or attending a major tournament as a guest, the game has a way of calling you back, gently reminding you of the thrill of competition, the camaraderie of the locker room, and the feeling of the ball at your feet. But now, it's different. You are not Cristiano Ronaldo, the player, anymore. You're Cristiano Ronaldo, the legend, the icon whose name echoes across stadiums, who has set a standard that will be difficult to match for generations to come. And yet, you've always been a man who thrives on challenge. Your post-retirement life, as full as it may be, is still punctuated by the questions that linger. What's next? What do you do when you've conquered everything? It's not a crisis, though. It's just the next logical step. You begin to focus more on your other ventures, your charity work, your brand, and yes, football in a different role. Some speculate you might return to the sport as a coach. Others wonder about your future in sports commentary. You've been toying with the idea of possibly managing a top team, guiding them through the highs and lows with the wisdom you've gained through your extraordinary career. But there's something else stirring within you. A new passion. As the world grows more connected, you begin to realize that football is just one of the many vehicles you can use to inspire. As your fame grows, so does your responsibility to make the world a better place. The truth is, when you've achieved everything you've set out to do, you start looking beyond personal success. And it's in these quieter moments, when you're not surrounded by the flashing lights of the press or the cheering crowds, that you see the difference you've made. You've given kids across the world a dream to chase. You've inspired not just athletes, but anyone who has ever faced adversity. And you're reminded that greatness isn't just about your legacy in football. It's about how you use your platform to shape the world around you. And so, you turn more and more to your philanthropic endeavors, making sure that the next generation of players doesn't just learn to be great footballers, but great people too. You see the fruits of your labor, from the Ronaldo Foundation's work with underprivileged children to your partnerships with organizations that focus on health, education, and sport. You begin to realize that perhaps this phase of your life is even more rewarding than the previous one. The pride you feel watching children in Lisbon, Madrid, or even far-flung places like India and Brazil learning the game, knowing that your story has inspired them, is immeasurable. You understand now that while trophies and accolades were part of the journey, the true reward is seeing the next generation rise with the same determination and belief that you once had. And yet, football never leaves you. It's in your blood, and the game continues to evolve around you. The likes of Messi, Mbappe, and others come to define the modern game, but you're not watching from the sidelines in bitterness. You watch in admiration. You see them do things you've done, score goals that make your heart skip a beat, and you feel a sense of pride. The game goes on, and while your boots are no longer on the pitch, you know that the next wave of players will carry the torch forward. Football's rhythms are always there, always moving. But now you find yourself watching it from a new perspective. Maybe you'll return to coaching. Maybe you'll help guide the next crop of players into the big leagues. Whatever happens, you've left your mark. There's no going back, no resetting. The stage is set for those who follow in your footsteps, just as you once followed in the footsteps of those who came before you. As time passes, your place in the history of football becomes even more secure. No longer just a player, but an ambassador for the sport, a representative of all that's possible when you combine talent, hard work, and unwavering dedication. Your name, your legacy, has transcended generations and will continue to influence the sport long after the stadium lights have dimmed. You've given everything to football, and now football gives back to you. A peaceful retirement, a life filled with new challenges and opportunities, and the knowledge that your influence will continue to shape the game for years to come. The story isn't over yet. You know that. It's just evolving, just as you did every time you stepped onto the pitch. As the years continue to pass, you find a deeper peace. The limelight, once so intense and all-consuming, begins to feel like a distant memory, one that you can reflect on without any weight. Your life now is not measured in goals, assists, or trophies, but in the quiet moments that you share with your loved ones. The fast-paced world of football is no longer your world, and the transition, while gradual, feels like a gentle exhale. There are still moments, of course, when you get that familiar tug in your chest, that undeniable pull to be back on the pitch. Sometimes you'll watch a match, perhaps a friendly or a critical World Cup game, and you can't help but feel a sharp pang of nostalgia. You think back to the days when you'd step out of the tunnel, the crowd's roar enveloping you, the feeling of the ball at your feet as if it were an extension of your body. But those moments are fleeting. You remind yourself that your time has passed and that's okay. In fact, it's a relief. But just because you've stepped away from playing doesn't mean you've stepped away from the sport. Instead, you have a new role to play in its ongoing story. You become an ambassador for football, traveling the world not for matches, but for charitable causes, initiatives, and events that promote the sport's values. You understand that football is more than just a game. It's a global language, a way for people to connect, to find common ground despite their differences. And as you speak to communities and individuals across the world, you begin to realize the true power of football. It brings people together, gives them hope, and provides a sense of purpose. One of the most rewarding aspects of this phase of your life is seeing how your legacy has already started to inspire the next generation. You've always known the power of representation, that seeing someone like you rise to the top can spark the dreams of countless young people. And now it's no different. Children everywhere, from rural villages in Africa to inner-city neighborhoods in Europe, are lacing up their boots with your name on their minds. They want to be like Cristiano Ronaldo, and that's where your story comes full circle. The footballer who started with nothing, from humble beginnings in Madeira, now finds himself an example to the very people he once was. That feeling, that quiet pride, settles into your heart as you watch the world shift in ways you never imagined. The game has changed, but you have changed it too. There are moments of reflection that take you back to simpler times, when you were just a young boy in Madeira, kicking a ball with your friends, dreaming of something bigger. Those early days, those moments of innocence and raw ambition, feel like another lifetime now, but they were the foundation of everything that came after. The sweat, the tears, the sacrifices, it was all leading to this. And now, as you watch the world continue without you as its centerpiece, you realize that you're okay with it. You've done your part. But even in retirement, you still see the future ahead of you. There's always something more to do, something new to explore. You might not be on the pitch anymore, but the world still feels wide open. Whether it's through business ventures, charity work, or even stepping into the managerial side of football, your journey isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. You find yourself more than just a spectator. You are a mentor, a guide, a figure who has shaped the world of football in ways that only a few can. Your thoughts about your own legacy have shifted too. It's not just about being remembered for your goals or your wins. It's about leaving a mark that resonates with people. Your journey is a story of persistence, of defying the odds, and of proving that greatness is not just about talent, but about resilience, dedication, and heart. Football's next chapter continues, and while you may no longer be the one scoring goals, you know that you've built a foundation that will support the generations of players, coaches, and fans to come. The legacy of Cristiano Ronaldo will live on, but it will live on in a way that transcends the field. It will live in the hearts of all those who've ever dared to dream. As you reflect on your life's work, you smile, knowing that you've done it all. But you've also left room for more. And that's the beauty of it all. Life doesn't stop when you step off the pitch. It continues to unfold, just like the game you loved so much. And now it's someone else's turn to take the stage. As the years slowly slip into the past, the world around you continues to evolve, but your impact on football remains as strong as ever. You are no longer just a player. You have become a fixture in the sport's vast history, a name that will always come up in discussions of the greatest to ever play the game. The modern era of football is richer because you were a part of it. And yet, you've never let that fame define you. In the quiet moments of retirement, you find peace in the simplicity of life. There are no more press conferences, no more training sessions that stretch into the late hours, and no more daunting expectations hanging over your every step. But the joy you find now comes not from accolades, but from a deeper connection to the game and to the people you love. Your relationship with your children has blossomed into something even more profound. You've been there for them in ways you never could have been during your playing days. Whether it's guiding them through schoolwork or simply playing football in the garden, you find joy in seeing them experience life in a way that is uniquely their own. You have taught them the values of discipline, dedication, and love for the game, but most importantly, you've shown them the importance of humility and kindness, traits that were a foundation of your own rise to greatness. And still, football's rhythm is ever present. It's impossible for someone like you to fully walk away. Football is in your DNA. Even though you no longer play, you continue to be a voice within the footballing world. Whether it's a thoughtful comment on a player's performance or a behind-the-scenes role helping with team development, you've found a new kind of satisfaction in guiding others, passing on the lessons you've learned over decades of intense, dedicated play. Through your charitable foundation, your efforts reach beyond the game. You have long used your platform to give back, providing opportunities to those who need them the most. Your charity work expands, reaching more people and touching more lives. There is an unmistakable joy in knowing that you're not just remembered for your performances on the field, but for the positive impact you've made off of it. The Ronaldo Foundation, helping underprivileged children access education, healthcare, and football coaching, is one of the cornerstones of your post-football life. It has become your true legacy, something more fulfilling than any trophy or personal accolade ever could be. Occasionally, you are invited to major events, whether it's the Ballon d'Or Gala, the UEFA Champions League finals, or special charity football matches. These are reminders that, while your boots may no longer touch the pitch, you will always be an ambassador for the game. The love of football is something you've never lost, and the respect you hold within the sport is something that transcends mere numbers and records. When you step into a stadium, it's not just a legend returning, but a beacon of inspiration to all those who once looked up to you. In your heart, you know the time to pass the torch has come. The game that you loved so much is now in the hands of the new generation, players who will create their own legacies, inspired by yours. There are days when you look at the young stars, such as the likes of Kylian Mbappé, Erling Haaland, and others, and you think, I've been where they are. I've walked that path. It's a strange, almost bittersweet feeling, but one that fills you with pride. You've been part of the history of football in a way that few others ever could, and yet even as you watch these new stars rise, you remain committed to helping them, guiding them, just as others did for you. You've been there through the highs and the lows, and you understand more than anyone the weight that comes with success. You'll always be a mentor to those who need it, sharing advice, encouragement, and maybe even the odd joke here and there. In this quiet period of life, you've finally learned what it means to take a step back and enjoy the peace that comes with knowing you've done everything you set out to do. There is no rush anymore, no need to prove anything. You know the world sees you as an all-time great. You've reached the pinnacle, and now you sit back and let the story unfold. It's an odd but peaceful feeling. No more pressure, no more cameras chasing you, no more constant scrutiny. Just you, your family, and the memories of a life well lived. And though you no longer play the game, you are still intrinsically tied to it, your presence felt in the very air of every football match. For as long as the game exists, your name will be remembered, not just for your accomplishments, but for the integrity and spirit you brought to every match you ever played. And so, as the years drift by, the days of boots on the grass feel like distant echoes, the memory of them softened by the steady rhythm of time. You have lived a life few can imagine, one of relentless drive, passion, and unparalleled success. But now, in the quiet moments of retirement, there is something truly profound in simply being at peace with yourself. Football may no longer be your daily reality, but it will always be a part of who you are. Its lessons, the discipline, the dedication, and the love for the game have shaped you into the person you've become. And for that, you are grateful. The final whistle has long blown on your playing career, but the game still calls to you in subtle ways. You never fully walk away. Instead, you slip into new roles, quietly shaping the future of football from the sidelines. Whether it's speaking to young players, guiding teams through mentorship, or lending your name to important charitable endeavors, you've found a new rhythm, one that suits you just as well as the one that once had you running at full speed across the field. Your legacy is cemented, not just in the history books or the trophy cabinets, but in the hearts and minds of those you've inspired. You've become more than a footballer. You are a symbol of what hard work, resilience, and perseverance can accomplish. Generations of players who will follow in your footsteps will know your name and, more importantly, will understand the spirit that drove you. A spirit that pushed you to not only be the best, but to leave the game better than you found it. And so as you reflect on the winding journey that's brought you here, you begin to feel that everything has come full circle. You remember, as if it were yesterday, that young boy in Madeira dreaming of bigger things. But now, that dream has evolved into something far more significant. The world may move on, the game may change, but you remain a part of it, forever intertwined with its history and in the hearts of those who still admire you. As the lights fade on your career, they never truly go out. Instead, they glow softly in the background, lighting the path for others to follow. You've set the bar high, but it's not about perfection. It's about dedication, heart, and the ability to rise above every obstacle, just as you once did. So now, as you wind down the final chapters of your own football story, there is only one thing left to do. Enjoy the quiet, savor the memories, and know that your place in history is secure. The whispers of your name will forever be tied to the sport you loved, the sport you conquered. But more than that, it will be tied to the man you became. The one who gave everything to the beautiful game and made sure that the world would never forget. In this final moment of reflection, the game is still there in the background. Its pulse is gentle now, no longer a frantic race to the next goal or the next victory, but something deeper, something lasting. And as you close your eyes, you know that the story of Cristiano Ronaldo, footballer, icon, legend, will never truly end. It will simply evolve, as football always does, continuing in the hearts of those who love it and those who, inspired by your journey, will one day pick up the ball and run with it just as you once did. Now, as you let the memories wash over you, the world quiets down. The roar of the crowd fades, and all that remains is peace. The end of one chapter, but the beginning of many more, in a world that you have helped shape.